What is going on, guys? BlackPanthaa here. Welcome back to some more stuffs on the crew once again. And today I am going to be talking to you about drifting inside the crew. Now, I've already made a video on drifting. If you haven't seen that, make sure to check that out. Link will be in the description below. But this is basically going to be an addition, improving on what we figured out from the last one. I wanted to go back to the location and see how I did, basically trying it with a different set of cars, with different methods, basically giving it another go, trying to expand upon what we know already, just so we know that even more for when we go into the next beta or for when we go into the full game later this year. So basically the drifting is, if you hadn't heard my first video, it's very simple in the way that you've basically got to switch to manual, switch to hardcore to turn off all the assists, fling yourself down a corner. Usually down is better. That you can drift up a corner, you can drift level, but it seems somewhat easy if you're drifting down, and I think it has a cooler effect as well. So you swing yourself round using the button, the handbrake button, which is X on the Xbox controller. So you swing yourself around, change down a gear, power on. Sometimes you don't have to power on constantly, sometimes you do. It really depends on the type of car. Now, I tried it in my 370Z and it drifted as you would expect, normally like a god. It did pretty damn well. I did get some better drifting done earlier in the week without recording, unfortunately, but this was basically me going to it to just show you how far we've got with, learning how the drifting mechanics work and stuff in this game. So then what I tried was doing it in my big meaty Camaro. Now, this is where we hit something, because it's kind of difficult, more difficult to get this thing to slide when you think it'd actually be quite a bit easier, because it is a muscle car, it's made for weight, it's supposed to slide, that sort of thing. But what I've come to think is that we've only got access to about level 180 cars or something like that, something around there. I haven't seen anyone with a higher than level 200 car on this game. And from as far as I'm aware, I think 500 is the max level of parts that you can put in your car. So keep in mind that this is very, very early stage, with very early stage cars, with a very early stage build of the game, with a very early stage, obviously, performance upgrade to the car. So not only are we using Dirt Spec, which is, the first stage of off-roading car that you get, Raid Spec comes in the full game, and that may be better for drifting overall. Now, as you'll know if you saw the first video, Street Spec is not fantastic for drifting. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's not really made for it. So if you actually unlock the Dirt Spec car, it actually says drift in an arrow underneath it. So you can kind of see that that's kind of, another aspect of that type of car. And it would seem just that car seems to slide a lot more, especially when you whack on hardcore and you whack on, the ability to not change gear automatically, put manual on. So that was the mountain trial, and that's what I gave a go. So then after going on the mountain a few times, I thought I'd go to a different place. I'd go to a racetrack, so I went to the Mazda Speedway. And the reason for that is because I want to get some different areas, and obviously having more flat, focused track, it would kind of make more sense to, test it. So you're not just seeing one specific type of area that's really good for drifting. You're seeing areas that aren't as good for drifting. Now, funnily, when I was actually doing the drifting around this track, I actually got joined by two other people, and they were waiting for me at points, so I was kind of drifting around the track, and then I can probably tell that, they were just tapping the handbrake and kind of getting it to slide. I mean, it worked, but it didn't work as well as some of what I got during drifting around that track. But it kind of goes to show that there's a lot that's, it's open to everybody. You don't have to be a brilliant drifter. They were drifting in street class cars with probably, the all assists on, if not hardcore mode, with automatic, I'm assuming, and they were doing alright as well. But it kind of works in stages, and that's just something awesome that just expands on the fact that we're going to be able to start from the bottom and get to the top of being able to drift. Hopefully, I'm guessing, high-end, a lot of money put into, a lot of time and effort put into muscle cars, and, tuners, whatever you want. Even, the later on hypercars that we're going to get in this game. And as long as we can get Raid Spec, I'm thinking Raid Spec that will, be the spec to do this in. But so far, Dirt Spec seems to be a good one. But I think if you're looking for a, more of a challenge later on, even if we got Raid Spec, and even if Raid Spec was better for drifting, I think Dirt Spec, it just has that closer to stock look. You can actually get it to look pretty much stock completely. I'm guessing you might be able to with Raid, but a bit, the interior changes a bit more and that sort of thing. So if you want the best drifting experience, basically, find yourself a canyon to drift down, get yourself a Dirt Spec car. Hopefully not too heavy. If it is heavy, put a bit more power into it, and we're going to see if we can find out any more information during later betas or the full game. I hope that I'm going to be drifting some SLSs and some other cars that I just can't think of right now. But anyway, hopefully this video you found helpful. If you did, make sure to give it a like, and hopefully we'll get drifting on the streets and bloody mountains and canyons and lakes and wherever else you can drive inside the crew. We're going to be drifting there. We're going to give it a go. So if you got any information yourself on how you can drift in the game, how you can drift better in the game, make sure to let us know down in the comments. I still can get a chance to fine-tune all the settings and stuff. I will have a play with that before the beta ends and see if that changes anything drastically, but I'm not thinking it will. I think that's more preference. Anyway, thank you ever so much for joining us for this video. As I said, make sure to give a like, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.